Okay, hello, welcome to another episode of Hiring and Inspiring. I'm joined by a repeat guest today. One and only Shimark Ghaffour joins me again for his second appearance on the show. This one's going to be a little bit different. Last time we kind of went through Shimark's background, what he's been up to in terms of his career journey, how he got to where he is. Today is going to be more us chewing the fat around two topics, talking mainly all things sales, and just riffing on a few ideas. So, Shimark, with that intro, mate, welcome to the show. How you getting on?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I know we chatted before about a lot of things, and I'm really excited to have a chat this time as well about, with yourself, obviously, because, I did enjoy the previous one, and I guess we have a lot of things in common. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Most welcome. Before we get into it, actually, I saw you've got a little job change or got a promotion. Tell me about
Yeah.
that. What's been happening there? How's that all going?
Yeah, it's going good, mate. So I was just like in my account manager position. So I was like customer success specialist in Fleet Complete. I was doing that for about a year. And I did also start to help out a lot of the salespeople in the organization with the demos, some of their prospecting as well. And there was a project that we had called the 3G migration project, which involved a lot of sales because we had to renew a lot of licenses and make sure that customers didn't terminate. So given that I did that for about a year, and I just said, hey, why not I just join the sales team?
Yeah,
And then they were like, yeah, sure. So they found a good time and helped me transition, which I'm very grateful for. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
yeah.
Today was actually my first week on the job, which was really good, and yeah, pretty exciting for that. Yeah.
Early days, but how was the first week?
Oh, the first week was crazy. So it was I was still doing a bit of my previous role because we just had a few customers. We just had to push a few deals through, which was good. So we sell these GPS tracking solutions, right? So it's these trackers that could fit it into cars. So you can have a fleet of 20, 30. So essentially the goal was a lot of our regional sales managers go hunt the bigger clients, and us as inside sales executives focus on more the mid-market and small businesses. And it's been great. So I've just doing a bit of learning, how to nail those sales demos as well. I've already been doing a bit of that, so it's not a
Yeah,
massive transition. And I just find that I'm naturally fitted to a very salesy role. I just find that my personality helps that, and we do have a plan in place to start making an outbound campaign of cold calling and getting some email marketing campaigns out and hunting our own business because we're currently having a very strong partnership with Telstra as well, and yeah, so that's kind of how it's going. Yeah,
yeah.
it's going
And
great.
because you already know the product, right? So it's not a huge
No,
learning curve there.
no, yeah. So I know the product. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
stuff. Good stuff.
It's like because I've done so much training for customers and onboarding, I just find that for me to do it, I feel like I'm very technically equipped with the solution, so I can answer any question technically, but I just need to figure out how to bring that into uh I guess well, I've done a few sales demos, but I'm going to start doing them more now,
Yeah,
and I just need to figure out how to tailor that to the pain points of the customer and start kind of digging a bit deep as to what are the actual problems in the industry and how we can as salespeople um, speak to that in a demo and not just go through a bunch of features that are in a solution essentially. Yeah, 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 yeah.
and you're doing Ramadan at the moment. How's that?
Yeah,
How's
it's
that
good,
been?
man. That's really good. It's very interesting, because the only thing that I miss is coffee. I really miss coffee. I don't miss food and water.
Okay.
Uh, I wake up in the morning and I'm a different person before and after I drink coffee. So the colors become better once I drink coffee. The world becomes I'm nicer to people once I drink coffee and all that. So it's interesting. And so we basically fast from sunrise to sunset, and we just don't eat anything. And I'm really grateful that I'm working because I don't know what I would do by myself at home or just sitting at home doing nothing. Obviously, the hunger starts piling on. But Ramadan's a beautiful month. We involve in a lot of prayers and stuff, and we get together. Even now, I'll be going after this to meet my boys and have a feast.
Yeah.
And because one of my boys, his wife's cooking a beautiful meal, and we're just gonna
Oh,
smash
nice.
it out. So it's crazy. Have
Has
you
it
heard much of
affected your work?
Ramadan?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
gone.
No, no, you go, you go.
I was yeah, like I've got a few friends who have done it over the years.
Yeah.
Seems to affect them in various degrees, I'd say. Some are sort of shrug it off and like they sort of carry on as normal somehow.
Mm.
Some people they're like, I'm doing Ramadan and that's I can't do anything else. Like it's kind of
You know,
that's my month. Like I can't take on any extra commitments. I can't hang out. I can't play sport. This is what I'm
yes.
doing for this month.
I think I fall into the former because I've had friends who come and told me, they were like, "Oh, mate, so when you're fasting back at home in Qatar, in a Middle Eastern country, because everyone's fasting around you, there's a lot of incentive and positive reinforcement to do it, and the work hours are shortened, and school gets over early and all that. However, when you come to Australia, it's difficult because not a lot of people around you are fasting, and you're kind of like the only one doing it,
Yeah,
and you have to wake up by yourself. You have to eat your meals, and obviously you go to the mosque and you see people doing it, and you feel really good. However, I feel like I'm someone who I was able to just carry on with life even while I'm fasting. So I still played soccer yesterday, and I go to the gym. I just go in the gym in the night because obviously I can't go in the day because I don't have my meals and stuff. So I still get my stuff done. I just feel like it's a bit of a struggle because the main reason being that I tend to love sleeping during Ramadan,
yeah,
and you wake up in the morning, you can't have a coffee and you can't get a lot of water in. So about halfway through the day, I'm okay, and then towards the latter part of the day, you start to get a bit cranky. Someone chewing a bit louder starts to annoy you, and like all those little things.
yeah,
But it's a beautiful month. I look at it as a month that we get together. You meet everyone. And honestly, you start to enjoy the little prayers that you do and all that. So it's a beautiful month. I love it.
yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Wait, so we didn't come in and talk about that, but it's good to hear about that and get a little few different perspectives
Yes,
um,
yes, yes,
on that. We came here to talk all things sales,
yes,
and I've whipped up
yes.
a few topics for you that I think we're gonna maybe discuss, and I want mainly your opinions on these.
Of course, of course.
Um, I was thinking about some relevant topics, that might be applicable to both of us, any salespeople who are listening, that are
Go for
sort of
it.
forefront of the sort of current conversation around sales. So first one for you.
Yeah.
This is us looking towards the future. How do you see, or what do you see prediction wise, the future of sales in the next 5 to 10 years? I.e., how will it change? What will
Mm.
how will the role of a salesperson change in the next 5 to 10 years?
That's a very good question. I think there's a bit of a complex answer as well to that because sales has obviously changed heaps, right? I think obviously previously with the lack of digital marketing and the lack of a digital presence for a lot of the companies, salespeople would hunt their own opportunities and people would meet someone. You would call up someone, you'd build rapport, you try to get an appointment, you'd go meet them, and you'll try to close the sale. Nowadays, I just feel like with the amount of content online, it's really I wouldn't say, I would say challenging and also helpful for salespeople because customers are really aware about the solutions that are out there. They know what's out in the market. They can do a Google search. They can figure that out. Salespeople have to really be creative, I think, going forward. And I think honestly, like in the future, I think the best salespeople are going to be the salespeople that are very creative and who can build that human connection with their clients. Now, so how do you succeed, right? How do you work that out? What I generally think is that a sales has to be a twofold and a really close I guess has to work really closely with the marketing teams as well, the digital marketing teams. There should be predictable funnels. There should be a way that the marketing team puts the brand out, brings in the leads, and the same messaging should be carried out by the salespeople. I don't think that you can do it on your own. Yes, you can make a lot of cold calls. Yes, you can do that, and cold calls still do work. I strongly believe in that. But I think in the future, you need to have a very strong digital presence and online presence. Marketing the message. You need to be very direct with your marketing. At the same time, as salespeople, I just feel like things are changing in that you got to be more of a consultant, I feel, than like a person that just dumps information to a customer. You got to find out why the customer is buying. You got to find out their needs. You got to find out their pain points. I know it sounds really basic, but a lot of people don't do it, and I just feel like data is really helpful. So in the future, a lot of sales, I would like, companies like Gong, right? They analyze the data. A lot of salespeople, they pick up a lot of data from all the sales calls and help salespeople understand where the deal fell off and where the deal didn't. So I think sales reps who use that data and who are able to analyze that data will close more deals. And this is a fact. It's a statistic. And I just feel like, honestly, people have to leverage that. They have to leverage that. And it's becoming more technology based and more digital, which is fine. But still, you got to be creative as a sales rep. There's nothing like that human to human bond, right? There's nothing like that trust you build with someone. So you have to be trustworthy, I think. And the trust decreases. I think as time goes, people tend to trust people less, and you have the people who are able to build that trust with customers and clients will be able to sell more in the future, I think, and build that human connection. So that's my thought. I think that's how it's going to change. I feel like people are definitely going to leverage data more, and work closely with marketing teams, and that's what I think. Yeah.
It's more data driven and even more so the digital marketing piece is going
100%.
to be
100%.
crucial to the salesperson's
100%.
success.
Success. I think it goes hand in hand, I think.
On that, how much in terms of the activity produced by the salesperson, in terms of their own marketing activities, how much is that their responsibility
Oh,
compared to the company's responsibility to produce the material? Do you think?
I think that's a very good question. I think it's as a sales rep, I think you should definitely take full ownership of your sales activities and communicate that with your manager. I think that obviously, obviously, if the company branding is wrong, if the product's really bad, if your marketing is not really good, it's very challenging to sell. I do understand that. I think that does need to complement the salesperson, but that doesn't actually take away from activity and hard work. I just feel like even if you have a decently average product, you can still sell if you're a good salesperson. That's not ideal. Obviously, you don't want to sell average products.
Mm.
But what I'm trying to say is that, so for an example, Alex Hormozy said something interesting. He said that if someone, he said, you rather spend a year building a product and then a really good product and selling it than spending a couple of months building it and trying to sell it harder. He just said that the product will sell itself. And I feel like as a salesperson, you should not take away from doing your activities. I think you still have to make your calls. You still have to put in the work because they still work, right? So you do put in the calls, you do send the emails, you do your reach outs, you work closely with the company. But at the same time, the company product, the company messaging, the outlook, the branding, it has to complement that as well at the same time. I think especially now, right? Especially when people can just do a simple Google search and search things up, right? Joe called me. He's from Talent Forge, right? Okay, what's Challenge Forge? Okay, who are they? All right, I like him. I really like him. I have an appointment with him. But let me just check them up on LinkedIn really quick. Oh, well, it doesn't look that good. I mean, the website's okay, or maybe they have a few. The social media presence not great. Okay, let me. So then the doubts start creeping up, right? Although
Yeah.
you had an amazing sales call, and you booked an appointment, um, I just genuinely feel like it's more important now for companies to back their sales teams with their online presence and the way they brand themselves, so that it actually helps them. But don't take nothing taken away from the activity of the sales, but they still have to do their calls and their emails and their reach outs.
And in terms of the salesperson building their own personal brand,
Mm,
in terms of the marketing activity, because this is my prediction, right? I
yeah.
think the salesperson the importance of building your own personal brand predominantly online will be even more
Oh, 100%.
present, because I think I don't think in 5-10 years, I still think the phone will work and it will,
Mm,
cold call will still be effective, but the pickup rates and the data around that, it is ever decreasing. So the salesperson more, and I think this is almost present, but in future it will be their role to be a mini sort of marketer for themselves, because that's even more personal compared to if you think about a company who puts out, you think about how many B2B companies that you might think about on LinkedIn, you can't think of any. Like, which companies are putting out really good content or material, or you can't. They don't. They struggle to gain traction. The best brands on LinkedIn are individual. The best people you can follow, they're individuals that are building their own personal brand, and that's something that I see. And it will still, the salesperson making calls will still, even if call rates they're not picking up, it's a voicemail that might. It's just another touch point combined with an online presence, which will be, I don't know. I think, yeah,
I completely agree. I completely
going back
agree
to
with you.
your original point, that digital marketing thing, it's going to be, yeah, it's not stopping anytime soon.
No, 100%. I think that someone told me that your social media presence, your brand is going to be a 24/7 sales rep for you.
Yeah.
It's going on people's feeds, and you have to post content. I think 100% all sales reps have to post content. I think to build a brand, even if you're starting out, you may not be, like for myself, I'm not an expert salesperson, right? I'm okay, and I'm going to be honest, right? I'm not great, but I post content about what I've done and what I know and things that I'm doing right now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm creating present yourself, right? You're posting content about things that you do and so you don't have to post content that's revolutionary or motivational. You just have to post some content, and if you do so, you're going to gain traction, you're going to build connections, and people are going to know about you. And then if people know about you, then it isn't, and as much as we hate to say, it's an attention economy at the end of the day, so um, the more attention you gain, the more chances that you are going to connect and build that trust online. Yeah.
It's a little bit off topic, this, but kind
Sure.
of just made me think about what you just said there. A lot of people, I feel like what you were getting at are too. They feel like they need to be an expert. They need to have 10
Oh,
years
yeah.
experience to
Yeah.
post about what they're doing and start building that brand. It's like, no, your brand doesn't have to be a 10-year expert, veteran, whatever you want to call it. Your brand can be you 2 months into an SDR role, or 2 months into a recruitment consultant role, just
Yeah.
documenting your journey, talking about your job, what you're doing, what you're struggling with, how you're getting on, a cold call that you messed up. Like, that's the stuff that people want to hear about, really, actually. And people prefer that stuff almost, actually, compared
Absolutely.
to some, CEO, been around for 10 years and whatever. I don't know. That's what I see.
100%. 100%. I was in the office today, and the blokes were, the blokes and all of them were giving a bit of, there was a bit of banter going on about me posting content on LinkedIn, and no one else does it in the company, which is fine. I mean, people do post here and there, but I post a lot of content, and actually no one was like, oh, you shouldn't do it and all that. No, they were like, hey, it's funny. It's, you post stuff doing interviews, and half of my content is not even me talking. Half of my content is people talking, and I think that you're absolutely right. Like, I had this guy on my podcast called Vincent, joined the company 1 month in, he started posting content, and I was like, man, that's really cool. He was documenting what he's done, and he's built a lot of connections. There are people liking his posts, and he's getting a lot of comments and stuff. It's insane. It's 1 month into the role, and I think it's judgment as well. People fear judgment. They fear that what is X going to say, what is Y going to say. But I just think, man, you live life once. Just come on, just hit. Just Gary Vaynerchuk, just hit record and put content on. Just hit record. Just do it, and you learn as you do it. You'll post some shit post and no one will like it, and then you learn what you like to post, and then you post it, and the more you start posting, you realize, oh, people actually like it, and some people don't like it, and it's part of the process. But it's always going to benefit you. It's always going to benefit you when you post some content out there. Yeah.
I think where we're at is like it does work. We know it works in terms of that personal brand, the marketing piece for salespeople, building that own brand. But it's sort of at a point where it isn't fully accepted by companies for people to do that. So I don't know, the guy you just mentioned, his company obviously supported him doing that, maybe. Whereas some company, because when you're posting out, like I'm posting on LinkedIn and stuff all the time, but that's Joe, but it's got Talent Forge, my ex BMS, my company behind it. So I'm representing them when I do that. Whereas a lot of companies probably, maybe senior management don't feel comfortable with people doing that because they can't control it. I think that's the thing I think about most, actually. They can't control it. When it's, if it's just, right, our strategy is to just post blogs, photos of our product, which is the vanilla content which bombs and no one engages
No
with.
one cares. Yeah.
Whereas the personal branding stuff, is the tricky bit for companies, because that's that they can't control it, and it's not fully accepted that is probably going to be the future, like sort of we're predicting.
And there's also a fear that the more people post content, I think companies fear that the person becomes too big, that they could leave the company as well, right? And they build so much. I
That's a
think
good point.
that's
Yeah,
also a fear.
because there's a lot of eyes on them now. Yeah,
Exactly. I know a mate of mine who posts he posts a lot of content on LinkedIn, and this is very educational content. This is really helpful content. He also posts memes on LinkedIn. He's a really funny guy, and he got offered a really good job because of that. A really good package as well. Just recruiter ringed him up and was like, "Hey, mate, I really love what you're doing. Do you wanna?" And he did move companies, so that is also a fear,
yeah,
and that's a valid fear, I think. Obviously, um, I just feel like I honestly feel if I was a manager in a company, I wouldn't really care. The only reason is because um, the only reason probably is because I just know that everyone has their own lives and they have a future as well for themselves. So
yeah.
um, I don't think you should hold them back from doing it. And probably nowadays more than anything, as I just touching back on that human connection thing as we go on to sales, like that's going to be so important. People are going to buy from people they trust. And so if you're showing up day in, day out on social media, on LinkedIn, people are going to eventually know you as a person and trust you. They could be like, you know what, I don't mind. I've seen this guy on LinkedIn for a year or two, man. He seems like a nice bloke. Probably never met you, but seems
Yeah,
like a nice bloke. And yeah, so that's what I think. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
gotcha.
Don't know if you, yeah,
Next one.
yeah.
What is one common myth about sales that most people, you think, believe to be true, but you believe to be false?
I think I don't know if most people believe this to be true or not, but I think people think that sales, when you're on a sales call with a customer, and this this is something that kind of like is a hit and a miss really, but I genuinely think this is what I think, and this is what's worked for me. A lot of the salespeople have trained me, and a lot of the best salespeople is that you can build rapport on the call, but also try to challenge. Don't shy away from putting the customer in some uncomfortable situations where they then have to bob and weave and fight themselves out of it. For an example, you can ask them a little bit of a challenging question, sugarcoat it with like a wrap it up nicely, and then be like, just out of curiosity, just for some reason, then you ask them a challenging question. A lot of people shy away from that because they're like, no, 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 we just want to make it comfortable, we just want to build rapport. It always has to be nice. And sorry,
The myth is the customer is always right. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I think so. I think
And you're
so.
saying you got to challenge that.
I think so. I think so. But you have to be very careful with it. I think you have to be very careful. You have to suss the situation. I think good salespeople know when to challenge it and when not to, and you just don't go challenging customers straight off the bat. Obviously,
Yeah. Have you read the Challenger Sale, by the way?
I've heard about that book. I've heard
Mm.
about that book. Yeah, and I've heard that I've heard about that book a lot from a lot of people. I'm yet to read it. I'm yet to read
Mm.
it. Does that say similar things, or
I mean, I've read it, right? And it came out probably,
what
I
do you
think,
think?
12 years ago. I could be wrong there, maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
And it was apparently, it's pretty revolutionary. And I personally found it actually quite dry, like a little bit boring, to be honest.
Okay.
It's not super entertaining. What it is, it just basically, salespeople fall into a bunch of different camps in terms of their
Ah.
style. I think it's relationship builder. And anyway, the most, across all different industries, different levels, the challenger sale was by far and away the most successful.
Hmm.
And the challenger persona is someone who kind of just says what you spoke, isn't afraid to disrupt the norm, isn't afraid to, when they know that, like, for example, if a customer's saying I've always done it this way, and rather than just accept it, going, hang on, have you thought about doing it this way?
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
challenger isn't afraid to put their neck on the line, challenge the customer, and it's that sort of methodology.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my sort of qualm with it is that I just don't think it's for everyone. Like, if
No.
you
No.
were, if imagine some like me, if when I first started in recruitment, 22 years old, got on the phone, started calling up some clients and talking to a director and got challenging them. I think I'll just get told to piss off all the time, because they'll be like, "What the hell why are you challenging me? You're nobody."
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's for everyone.
No.
That's
No,
what
that's
I think
fair.
about it.
And I think some, even my manager, I spoke to my current manager, and he told me that they did a test. It's a really interesting thing. The words spoken per minute between the customer and a sales rep, right? So they put the
Yeah.
sales rep in a different room, customer in a different room. The most For the most successful sales rep, the words per minute spoken between the customer and the sales rep are almost the same, because they kind of accept the flow of the sales rep, and they come into the flow of the conversation, because they're like, okay, let them take the lead. I think it's a very I think it's a balancing act between challenging the customer and building rapport. I think you have to challenge them at certain points, but not to break the flow of the conversation, and not to break it too. It's a very fine line. I think it's a very fine line
Yeah.
between doing that and making sure that the conversation's good, and you're agreeing to them as well, and showing them what they want. I think it's a very fine line, and it requires a lot of emotional intelligence, I think. That's
Yeah.
what. Yeah.
I definitely did. I've messed up times before where it's like So I think you're when you say almost like pick the moments to do it.
Oh,
If you
100%.
believe that like the customer is doing things wrong and your solution can actually help their potential problem, then that's the time to challenge it. If you're just challenging for the sake
For the
of
sake of challenging, it's yeah.
just to try and win a deal where your solution might not actually be the best solution, or you
You just
can
come off as annoying.
they can smell the commission breath.
Oh, 100%, 100%. You come off
I
as
think
annoying. Yeah, I think human beings are very, very susceptible. If you're actually trying to help them, they'll know that you're trying to help them. If for example, a customer goes, oh, I don't need a fleet tracking system because, it's too expensive, but I'm like, but wait, you got 30 vehicles. How do you know that all of them are driving them safely, and how do you know they're taking the right routes? Oh no, I called
yeah
them, but how do you know that? Like, do you know that you can save this much on fuel? Like, do you want to test something like that's someplace I would challenge them sometimes in my experience. But then if they're like, oh no, I'm like, completely understand. Look, have you and so you challenge them a bit, and if they still say no, then just let it go. Then you have to sometimes stop. You can ask them, why do you think that is? Oh, because people, and then the real reason might come out, and they might be like, oh, actually I don't want a fleet tracking system because the drivers might think I'm monitoring them, and be like, no, 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 this is not like a big brother. We're not trying to be a big brother here. We're just trying to make sure that there's less wear and tear on your vehicle. You can save more as a company, so you can pay the
yeah
drivers more. It's just that kind of ways. You got to be very tactful about it, I think, and in your explanation. And yeah, I did fall in that trap before, where I was like, oh, you gotta tell them they're wrong and stuff. And then I did that a bit, and that didn't end well. Yeah.
Fair enough. Good on you for a bit, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
Next one. So
Yes, yeah.
sales tech, like the sales stack, I believe it's called the different
Yeah,
bits of tech that
yeah.
every salesperson, and it's a bit of a controversial issue because there's almost I think a bit of the topic of conversation is there too much? Does a salesperson are they equipped with all these bits of
It's a good
you know
question. It's a
do
good
they
question.
are they just getting bogged down for the rather than just getting on with their job? Are these tools actually helping them? But there is a lot of people swear by some tools and some bits of tech. So
Hmm.
for you, what is hot right now? What are you using? What are you liking? What do you want to give a shout out to?
So look, I'm at our current organization. I have we have a CRM, and we
Yeah,
pick up the phone and we call people, and it's a very basic tech stack, right? We got Salesforce. We record all our content,
yeah,
we log our calls, and we call up customers. I think for me personally, the biggest, I guess, bottleneck in our process is the amount of time we take to log information. I feel like what I generally feel, and for what I've observed online on LinkedIn, I would really like a parallel dialer. I think that is amazing, where you can call up to 300 people a day, and this is true actually. If you see some of the companies like Salesfinity,
yeah,
and you've got your other organizations that have a dialer where they just call people, and they have 5 people on the call. The first one that picks up, it drops the rest and gets that person on the phone. You're able to go
yeah,
through way more dials. I would like that. I would really enjoy that. I think because, for example, you make a call, you lock information, you're just wasting a lot of time in between. Um, I also noticed that a lot of people use parallel dialers, a lot of people use Zoom Info and all that. Tech stack, obviously, you can use Lusher to get. I think Lusher
yeah,
is really helpful. We use Lusher as well to get numbers of people that we want to reach out to. It's absolutely helpful. If you use it, if you want to use zoom in for as well. That's a lot. Some
Yeah.
companies use zoom in for. That's really helpful. I don't think I think as a salesperson, you got to really simplify your. For me personally, I like it really simple. I don't want to
Yeah.
worry about, oh, how am I going to use this system, and I just want to make a sale. I just want to call up people and talk to them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know about you. What do you think, mate?
I think, yeah, like they're not going to make or break your success.
Yeah,
Personally, like
I don't think so.
it's
No.
not, it's up to you. It's not the fault of the bits, the little bits of kit that you have.
Yeah,
They help here and there. I don't know. But they're not gonna. I don't know.
I
There's
don't
nothing
think
out there
so. I
like.
don't think so. Yeah, I think maybe a parallel dialer could help because you're kind of going through five. Obviously, you call someone, it's 5 calls in a row, it goes to the voicemail. Instead,
Yeah.
parallel dialer, it just drops all of them off immediately and puts you with the person who picks it up.
Yeah,
That's
I
not-
heard about one literally today. I was reading about it. Like it calls 10 people at the same time, and as soon as one picks up, AI recognizes that the human voice,
Yeah,
and then it just drops all the other ones. So I
yeah,
think that's kind of what you're talking about there. Like it
yes,
just so you can, rather than just going one voicemail, voice, you can do like 100 calls in an hour,
in an hour. Yeah,
which
and then you
is,
can. Yeah,
I
sorry,
don't know,
you go.
that's a bit of a game changer, I'd say.
100%, because then if you do your math, you're like, okay, if I do 100 calls, I can get 1 or 2 appointments. Then you can say, how can the parallel dialer do this many calls? Sometimes it does 300 calls, then you get a few booked appointments. Or, okay, then I can get this. So you can start doing the math and breaking it down as to how many calls you need to get an appointment, which I'm pretty sure you do already.
Yeah,
And a parallel dialer really amplifies that. So it times by 10 or times by 20, then you get more booked appointments. And this is actually not even a myth. It's actually happening in companies these days where
yeah,
there are companies using parallel dialers and getting more sales and more appointments. I know a friend of mine who's working as a BDM in a company, and they're having SDRs do it. And he said, "Mate, my calendar is booked because of when ever since this came on.
yeah. Okay.
It's insane." Yeah,
Next one for you.
yeah.
What's one area of sales that you're especially curious about? What is it and why?
I'm especially curious about the. You mean in the sales process?
Like anything, actually. Whatever. Could be anything.
Um, I'm really interested in the how different people close the sale. I
Okay.
just think it's a very how different people ask for it. It's just interesting. I go really simple. So I'm like, so who's going to authorize this agreement? Okay. Or I go, hey, I'm like, can I get your last name for this DocuSign, please? And if they give you the last name, that, hey, they're really interested. Or can I get your last name for this application form before I send it to your signature? So I'm just interested how they close the sale, because some people are like, would you want to sign the contract? And that's a very,
Kind of like
people are,
yes or no sort of thing. Like
yeah, I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
about that,
Yeah.
I think everyone closes differently. Some people close too soon. Some people are too scared. Are often afraid to close.
Oh,
I
that's the
think
biggest thing. That's the biggest
afraid
thing.
it doesn't have to be closed. More just like afraid to ask for the business.
Yeah.
It's like so. So how do you feel about going with us? They try and preempt it so that there is happening, which can work, but like sometimes and often you forget about it. Like I was coaching a guy on my team, and he's like, "Did you actually ask? Did you ask how do they felt about working with us?" He goes, "Oh no, I didn't." So you got to be not afraid to close, because I think there's a lot of that out there as well.
And then if they say no, then you can go, okay, what's the reason? You can work your way
Yeah,
back to the objection. They can solve that and come back again and be like, it's
but
not
if
the
you've
end of
done
the world.
your job well, you should know. Like you don't open with that, right? Obviously, you fact find until you get to that point.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm curious. What do you think is the most like curious part for yourself as well? Because you've been in sales for so long. I'm sure
Just
you. Yeah.
well, one thing is more like it's kind of, and I'm not sort of an expert in it, but just sort of human, like the area of like psychology and just how people make decisions,
Oh,
and
yeah. So true.
different different persona types in sales, because you deal with different personalities and what because sometimes I'm like, I'll try something with some person, oh, that works so well, and I might try it with someone else and it just completely flopped. I'm like, why didn't that work? I was like, oh, well, they're different, they make decisions differently, they think differently. So
Yeah.
one area I'm kind of almost, yeah, just because when it sales, it's a human in person thing. It's a people game. I
Mm,
think to answer what I'm most interested in is people. Like I'm
mm.
just fascinated by people and just how, why they do different things. Just little things. Like sometimes I go into a meeting. Why did that person keep their
Oh,
jacket on?
100%.
Or like,
Dude,
what
I love that. I love
little
that.
thing, like weird little things, like. And I'm trying like,
You know,
why are they sitting there? Why are they touching their face? Are they nervous? Yeah, I don't know. Like just so
there's
that's
there's something, sorry to interrupt you, but sorry, really quick. I was saying, like, some people, how are they able to grab attention in a crowd as well? Like, I'm really interested by these things. How are they able to kind of attract attention really quickly with their words, and how are they able to convince people to do stuff? I'm really fascinated by that as well. I don't know
yeah.
about you, but yeah.
That's kind of yeah. To that, it's like the art of, I guess, storytelling. Something I'm interested in. Well,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
people, you say people are like who grab attention,
Who's so
and I'm
funny,
not.
like who are just
Mm,
witty, like it's
yeah,
unbelievable how things come in their head and they say all that. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not saying I'm one of them, but like people who do that, like, the I would say the art of storytelling is something I'm interested in as well, because in sales it's so powerful. The best salespeople are always the best storytellers as well. The way they can weave little stories into their
Oh
pitch or their
yes,
meetings and
mate.
stuff.
Oh, 100%. Dude, I think you come off as someone that loves people as well. You love people, I think, and
Yeah, I mean,
meeting
I
people
wouldn't, I
and
wouldn't
talk.
do this. I wouldn't do this job if I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I do this podcast as well. I love having different people on
Yeah.
and just learning about, because I guess a lot of my episodes are sort of learning about their story. That's something
Mm,
I'm interested as well. How
yeah.
did they get from where they are today from where they were?
Yeah.
What did they do to get there? That's
Yeah.
what I want to know. How did you do that? What did you
You know,
like? That's something I'm interested in.
yeah, that's so true because so I studied mechanical engineering, but I could never, and I'm telling you, I would find it very hard to work in engineering job where I'm doing calculations, working in a
Yeah.
computer, doing data stuff the whole day or coding or anything like that. Like some people that I spoke to, some of my mates, they're like, "Oh, mate, I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to go to desk at work and just work." I'm like, "How do you stay sane?"
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest, I can't stay sane if I'm not talking to people constantly. I
Mm.
just find that it's an energy thing. You speak to them, get a vibe, and then internally and stuff. I love people as well. I personally love people. I think people are some of the most amazing things, and they bring all of your joy to life. I think, and I genuinely believe that me chilling with my boys, us being completely broke and just chilling together when we were in uni is going to be the same as us chilling together when we're completely rich. You're going to get the same amount of joy. Money doesn't change that. I had as much fun chilling with my mates when I was broke in uni, and we just go out and you go back to. So I think that just applies to sales as well, because you can't like be or enjoy the role unless you genuinely like talking to people, and I think yeah, after a point it does get exhausting, but sometimes people say, Shimark, why do you talk so much? You talk in your job and you come out of work and you still keep chatting. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, it's nice, yeah, it's good. And sometimes I do go overboard with my talking, which is something I need to handle. It's kind of a a shortfall of mine. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you, man. I do the same thing that you do, where I just notice what people do, and I'm like, I go to a coffee shop and I'm sitting, I'm like, this couple, they're walking like that. Oh, what are they? Oh, she's a bit upset there, huh? Did he do something?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those kind of things. Yeah, yeah,
Next one.
yeah.
What's one thing about your field, or what's one opinion or thought you have, which you believe to be true, but most people don't agree with you
Oh,
on?
you want me to get conspiracy, do you?
Yeah, I want to get controversial here. Yeah.
You want to get controversial, do you? All right. Oh, dude, do you want me to say it? Okay, I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll say it. Oh, okay. I genuinely believe that and dude, you can cut this bit out if you don't want, but um, I genuinely believe that in this world, that social media and everything that's the content that's been pumped into us around the world, everywhere, from us going to the office, are you talking about sales in particular or life in general?
I was talking sales, but
Okay, you
You
don't
can
want
take
sales.
this. You can take this another way. Go on.
I'll talk sales first. I'll say sales first. What do I believe about sales that I think is true, but no one agrees with me? I genuinely think that obviously you can. This is something I really believe in sales, that you can have a script, but it's about, and I think it's, people are like, oh, you do this, you ask this question, you ask an open-ended question, and that's a structure on how you follow the call, and that's how you close the sale. I just think it's all about energy, man. I just
Yeah.
think I genuinely feel the energy of the person I'm talking to, and I feel if they're interested or not. And more often than not, I get a gut feel, and more often than that's right. I think you have to be able to feel. You have to have a high emotional intelligence as a salesperson. um, Sometimes you have to shut up as well, and I just think that a lot of people think that, no, you got to have a script. Yeah, you got to have a script. Yes, you can have a script and have a structure, but don't be afraid. Oh, another myth that I believe is, people go into demos and they think that you can build up to your best feature. I think no, show your best feature as you go in. Start the demo with your best feature, bang, and don't over talk about it. A lot of people show the best feature and they go, "Oh, this is the best feature which you spoke about, yesterday in the discovery call. But it can also do this, 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 this." No, 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 no. Just talk about that. Talk about, like a lot of people do that, and they're like, "No, you got to show as much as you want." And I just think that you have to simplify it as much as you can. That's one myth that I really believe, that people are like, you build up to them, or no, hit them hard first. Yeah, yeah,
One final one for you, mate.
yeah.
What's one bit of advice that you can give that you think helps you, that most people maybe don't know about, that would help them just move the needle forward every day in their careers and life? Maybe what's one thing you do?
Oh, this is something that I genuinely believe in, and this is something that changed my life. I'll give you a quick story. I was in uni. I went to a networking event, and I went with a guy. He was a natural talker, charismatic talker. I wasn't. He was just able to chat with everyone. And I was like, man, I was an introvert. I wasn't ready to do it. Man, ever since just started being open to meeting and chatting with new people, it's just changed my life, in the sense that it's helped me get to places, it's helped me go up in my career, it's helped me be more happy as well, and it's helped me even learn new things about life that I never thought I would ever learn. Because a lot of human beings, they're a wealth of knowledge. You speak to someone, you learn a lot. So the one piece of advice I'll tell youngsters or anyone is, don't be afraid to have a conversation with someone. Don't be too egotistical, like, oh, why should I talk to them, like,
Yeah.
no, 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 never do that. Just always think that the other person knows more than you, and go into a conversation, speak to people. Don't and when friends ask you to meet, and don't say no, go and meet. You might learn something new. There are many times I've been like, oh, I don't want to go and meet them, but I've gone and met them, and I've learned something new, and that's benefited my life. I think to get out of your phones. Everyone's just staring at their phones. I think, get out of your phones, go up to people in the office, speak to them. You might build rapport, and then, because you're at the end of the day going to work together. uh, Go up to a client you want, go and talk to him. It doesn't matter if he says no, go and talk to them. That's one piece of advice I'd give. Don't keep having those negative thoughts hamper you down. Let go of it. Let go of your ego, and just go and talk to people. And just be open. Yeah.
Just be fearless.
Be fearless. Exactly. Be fearless.
Yeah.
You're
If you
you're
can.
amazing. Everyone's amazing. Everyone's got their own personality, and people are not gonna. People like people who like them.
Mm.
If people like people who like them, that's it.
And be curious about it.
100%. Ask a lot of questions.
If you're naturally curious, yeah, people like talking about themselves, right? And if you're picking their brain, and how do you do that? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it will go down pretty well most of the time.
100%. 100%.
Shimark Ghaffour, thank you for joining me again on the show. Really enjoyed that episode, mate. Thank you for sharing the wisdom and the insights there. I enjoyed chewing the fat. All the best in the new role. And I'm, mate, who knows? Round 3, you might be back. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. Let's see how I perform.
Thanks again, mate.
Thank you so much. Cheers, cheers, cheers.